And there we go. So, all right, everybody, welcome to CSUMB Transfer Week Bridge to Orientation. This is day 4. The theme is well-being. We appreciate all of you being here today to get a little bit more information about some very vital and important and useful campus services that are going to aid in your transition to CSUMB, help you be a more successful transfer student. This is a very brief, kind of presentation of an overview of some various areas. It's kind of like a precursor to orientation. Orientation will be a deeper dive, and then there'll be some other events that will happen after orientation in the summer, specifically for transfer students, that are going to be another opportunity to engage and get some information about how to be more successful. So we're hoping that today we can do some things that can kind of prepare you for orientation, for some questions and some of the content that comes, to give you a little bit more context about what's going to happen. So a little bit of housekeeping information. Make sure you keep your microphones muted. We're going to have some opportunities in between and then after, in between each presenter, and then after we're done for questions, you can drop those questions into the chat as we move along, or you can ask them at the designated time. You can keep your camera off or on, challenge by choice, whatever is most comfortable to you. And really just take this opportunity to soak in as much of the information as you can. And also this is, like I said, is going to be recorded. So it's going to be uploaded to the Transfer Student Success Center YouTube channel, and also will be sent out to everybody who attended so that you can check it out in case you missed any information, and you can share it with your friends who maybe didn't make it here today. So my name is Jacinto Salazar. I'm the coordinator at the Transfer Student Success Center. I am here not only with my colleagues from various parts of campus, but also the peer mentors. They're going to be able to introduce themselves towards the end. They're going to be helping out with a lot of the logistical stuff, answering questions, dropping links in the chat. And they're going to be the final piece of Transfer Week on Friday for their student panel. So be sure you join us tomorrow to hear from the transfer peer mentors and about all their experiences about what it's like to be a transfer student at orientation. All right, so that's enough of me. Without further ado, let's get into a little bit of what we're going to talk about. And so we're going to talk about basic needs, campus health center and promotion, personal growth and counseling center, and student housing and residential life. And some things that we want to keep in mind about why we're doing this. We want to develop a sense of belonging. We want to be prepared to engage at orientation. We want to encourage support-seeking behavior. It's one thing to know about services and support. It's a whole other thing to go out and make sure you take advantage of them. And then also we want to, where appropriate, learn the differences between the community college and your other previous institutions and the services that we offer here at CSUMB. So keep those things in mind as we go through our program today. And so the first group that's going to talk to us is going to be basic needs.
Thank you, Jacinto, and good afternoon, everyone, or early evening. My name is Joanna Snotter-Manzo, and I serve as the care manager in the Office of Student Life. And my colleague, Ashley Ramsden, who serves as the basic needs coordinator, was unable to be here this evening. She sends her regrets, but she and I are the professional staff that head up the Basic Needs Initiative on campus. And what we're really talking about, what we're really referring to when we think about basic needs is the overall wellness security of our campus community. And so one of the first aspects of our wellness is making sure that we are fed, that we have enough to eat so that we can go to classes and go to our job sites and interact with people, take care of anyone we have to take care of besides ourselves, pets, anything that we have to do. We have to be well nourished. And this has a direct impact on academic performance. All of you can probably imagine, and you've probably experienced those times when you didn't have enough to eat, or maybe were getting hungry. Some people call it hangry, a mix of angry and hungry at the same time, when it's all you can focus on is getting some nourishment for the body and the mind so they can perform. So the mission at the CSUMB Basic Needs Initiative endeavors to support students to be successful by ensuring their basic needs are met through resources, access, and advocacy. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more specifically about what that looks like. So on the next slide, you'll see that we have some different services. We offer one-on-one case management with professional staff members. So that means really working individually with students to identify what their needs might be and what resources we can find for them. Referrals to our campus resources, which we have a ton that you're hearing about today, and then off-campus community resources. We do a lot of assistance with CalFresh Food. So many of you maybe are familiar with this program. It's a federal program filtered through state agencies, but it is more money for students to purchase their groceries. We also have a program that is a partnership with local farmers markets where we give students vouchers to take to the market. And if they combine that with their CalFresh, they might be able to go to a farmer's market and not spend any of their own money. We also have a program that offers gift cards for students to purchase food. That's new from the pandemic. We have an emergency fund for when students do experience an unforeseen catastrophic event. A lot of that happened during the pandemic. We are so excited. We have some parenting resources that are new for us this year, and that's on our website. And then we did a lot of fun shows called Cooking with CSUMB. We partnered with Recreation and did a series called Campfire Cookin', where students got to watch virtual demos and then receive prizes. And then we have a lot of other kind of one-off events like Kitchen Bingo. We're involved in the Eco Challenge right now around sustainability, ways to engage students. And then also there's incentives for students, ways that they can participate and then have prizes that contribute to their overall well-being, like gift cards or an Instapot, something fun like that. So in conclusion, I will just say on the next slide, you have our contact information, and feel free to check out our website and our social media. And that's where our students do a lot of the posting for the initiatives that we're engaged in. And that's all for us. Thanks.
So if anybody has any questions for basic needs, you can drop that into the chat right now, or you can unmute yourself. We'll take a few seconds to see if there's any questions. You could always ask questions at the end, but we want to give folks an opportunity to ask any burning questions about anything that Joanna talked about right now. I see the chat. How do we get vouchers to market?
So there is on our website, fresh access, and I will try to find that and drop it in the chat.
Good question.
But great question, yes.
Awesome. Okay, you'll have an opportunity to ask more questions of basic needs at the end. Right now, we're gonna move on to the next Campus Health Center.
Great, thank you. So, hello everybody, my name is Gary Rodriguez. I am the Health Promotion and Prevention Manager with Health and Wellness Services. I work with the Campus Health Center and also with Health Promotion and Education. So I'm going to tell you about those two areas very quickly here. Make sure you have all your questions answered too about health and wellness, as far as where do you need to go if you need to see a doctor, what do you know, if you need immunizations, those things. We want to make sure that you have all that information about resources available here on campus and also in the community as well. So the Campus Health Center is your health center here at CSUMB. We provide urgent and primary care provided by licensed medical professionals. We have on our staff MDs, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, medical assistants, and in the health promotion and education side, like myself, we have health educators, again, who are all really here to make sure that your health and wellness is a top priority. As a student, you pay a student health fee each semester. That means it's automatic. You don't have to think about it. That means you can access the health center and receive basic healthcare services as they are defined by the Chancellor's Office at no additional cost. So these are things just like walking in the door for an office visit, lab tests, blood work, physical exams, well-women exams, sexually transmitted infection testing. Those are all provided at no additional cost. If there is an additional cost for the services you are going to receive, because remember, we are a full service health center, They will let you know if there is a service for the fee for the service you're about to receive. If there is and you have insurance, we can bill insurance directly for those services. For students who are uninsured, we provide those services at a discounted rate for them thanks to the partnership we have with Doctors on Duty. Since most of you are local and from this area, maybe you're familiar with Doctors on Duty. They are a chain of primary and urgent care clinics in the community on the Monterey Peninsula and Santa Cruz County area. And they are actually the agency that runs our health center here at CSUMB. So added benefit of having them affiliated with CSUMB is that whenever you need to see a doctor when the health center is closed, and we are open right now for this semester, we're 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, but anticipate in the fall we'll be back to our 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. hours. But when we are closed after hours on the weekends, if you need to see a doctor, maybe it's not emergency room care that you need, but it's something you don't want to wait till the next day or maybe the next weekday, you can go to any local Doctors on Duty clinic, show your student ID card, and receive those same basic services you would receive at the health center at no additional cost. So it's a nice little added benefit we have for students. We are providing both telemedicine and in-person visits for students. Primarily right now, it's telemedicine for our students, but we anticipate when school resumes in the fall and we have more students on campus, or students on campus in general, we will be going back to in-person visits for our students with the telemedicine services still available. All information about scheduling appointments and services available through the health center on our website, which is csumb.edu/health. We'll drop that in the chat box as well too, so you have that information. The other area I want to talk about on the next slide is health promotion and education, which is the area I work more closely with. We are the ones who help coordinate health education, health promotion programming that takes place here on campus. Everything from alcohol, tobacco, and other drug prevention to nutrition, mental health promotion, suicide prevention, reproductive health, body image and eating disorders, sexual assault prevention, are just some of the topics that we cover. We provide presentations and trainings for students. We do campus-wide health promotion activities, awareness week events. We provide health education materials, and we make referrals to campus and community resources for students. We have a team of professional health educators on our staff, as well as certified peer educators. Our peer educators are students just like yourselves who go through training, actual training course they take in the spring semester of each academic year that enables them to become certified and work alongside professional staff in delivering prevention information to our students, health promotion and prevention information to our students throughout campus and throughout the year. And finally, I want to just point out a couple of things to keep in mind as you're getting ready for starting school in the fall. On the next slide, I've made up a little to-do list for you. The first thing I want to make sure that you do is you submit your immunization records. Okay, now I want to be clear on this right here. The immunization records we're talking about for all of our students coming into CSUMB are hepatitis B for those students who are 18 years of age and younger, and measles and rubella for all students, regardless of your age. Okay, so those are required to be submitted by the beginning of your second semester, otherwise they will put a hold on your registrations. So we give you a grace period for the fall semester, but we need to make sure those are submitted by the time you register for spring. At the risk of opening up a can of worms right now, I'm going to say this does not include COVID-19 at this time. However, the president did put out, President Ochoa, president of the university, put out an email to the campus community last week stating that immunizations, COVID-19 immunizations would most likely be required for all students coming in the fall, okay? Conditioned, I'm going to read this specifically from his letter, conditioned upon full approval of one or more vaccines by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, which means we are not now taking those COVID-19 immunization records, but will be taking them once it becomes approved by the FDA. So hang on to those. We will make an announcement to the campus community as far as how to submit those and get those immunization records into wherever they need to be submitted in order to make sure you can be a student here on campus in the fall. Okay. Alcohol EDU was another resource I want to make sure you know about. All students, incoming students, freshmen, and transfer students are required to take what's called Alcohol EDU. It's an online alcohol education course. It's really designed to help you make smarter choices around alcohol and other drugs, and also help friends who might have trouble with these substances, maybe need additional resources and support services. So it's designed for all students coming in again to CSUMB. So be on the lookout for an email invitation for Alcohol EDU around about the second week in July. So right around the middle of the summer, you'll receive an invitation from Alcohol EDU to complete that course. So make sure you do that. And I have a question here that I can look at. Well, let me see, because it's talking about immunization records, I believe. What are considered immunization records? Good question. They are anything from the little yellow cards that you received when you were a child getting your immunizations, to actual receipts from pharmacies and doctors' offices, something that really just shows that you actually physically had the immunization. You can get information on the immunization webpage about all the different forms of proof that we accept there. And if you don't have immunization records, you can contact the health center and we'll talk about other ways of providing that proof, or ways of making sure that your immunization holds are removed from your account. So those are taken on an individual basis. So we'll be sure to help you out with that. And finally, keep an eye out for the peer education program and peer educators around campus. And keep in mind, if you'd like to be a peer educator, we'd love to have you. We do the training class as Human Development and Family Studies 222. You don't need to remember that. It's on the Health Promotion Peer Education website. It gives you information about registering for that class and becoming a certified peer educator. So interested in becoming a health educator, maybe in the future, or a career in health studies or teaching or social work or anything related to health and human services, we'd love to have you get some experience with us as a peer educator. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you, Gary. There's going to be more questions for Gary, I'm sure, but we need to keep moving and ask those questions at the end so we can make sure everybody has an opportunity to get their information in. And I'm going to use a sports metaphor and call an audible. So Jessica, if we can skip ahead and then have Kyle go, and then Jessica, if you can go at the end, that would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and go through here and then turn it over to Kyle for student housing and residential life.
Yeah, thank you, Jacinto. So for student housing, we have just a quick overview of some of our options. I have one of our RAs here with us, Kim McKinney, who was going to join in the presentation as well. But if you want to go to the next slide, please, Jacinto. First, we're going to start talking about housing options. So welcome to CSUMB. We hope that you're excited to come live with us and make your home with us. We are excited to have you. As you're filling out your housing application, you'll notice that we have a bunch of different styles of housing that you want to look into. So I just want to start using, you might hear the word semi-suite or suite style. Our residence hall or North Quad have those. The big difference between semi-suite and apartments and suites and apartments are that suites and semi-suites require a meal plan to be on campus. And the meal plans are great. They're very convenient for students to use, but they are an additional financial obligation of students. So you want to definitely look at that as you're considering where you want to apply. A lot of our transfer students prefer our apartment style housing, which would be promontory apartments in our East Campus. You can find out more information about what's involved in and what comes with an apartment versus a suite versus a semi-suite or residence hall on our options page of the student housing website. So the process to apply, for those of you who haven't applied, it's okay, you still have plenty of time to apply. First, you have to log into Oasis and you have to pay the $200 reservation fee. This is made up of a $50 application fee and a $150 prepayment that will be applied to your first either month's rent in East Campus or your first semester's housing fees once they hit your Oasis account. After the $200 gets processed and gets put into the housing database system, the system automatically unlocks your application, so you'll be able to fill it out. It takes 24 to 48 hours. So if you've just submitted it, hold on, it's going to open up in just a day or two for you. So don't panic and just give it a little bit of time. Applications are now open for everyone. So we have April 19th listed on the last slide. You don't need to worry about that anymore. As soon as the $200 hits, the application will open for you. And we're currently taking rolling applications. So at the moment, there's not a deadline. So it's going to be until inventory is full. If you have any concerns or questions about that, go ahead and reach out to us. But right now we're still taking plenty of applications, so there shouldn't be any fear there. So as you're thinking about applying for housing, please read the 2021-2022 Housing and Dining Plan License Agreement. This details all of your rights and responsibilities as a resident of student housing and residence life at CSUMB. You should also look at our rates pages. Our rates pages is completely up to date. And a really cool thing that is new is that GradGuard renters insurance is provided to at no additional cost to all of our residential students on campus. So that's already included in your rate. You don't need to worry about getting your own renters insurance. That way, if something happens, we've already got your back covered and you should be good to go. Our students who live on main campus, meaning the residence halls, promontory, or North Quad, are automatically enrolled in a housing installment payment plan, which takes your housing and dining costs and will break it into 3 equal payments. Those dates are listed on our housing installment payment plan website. So you can figure out kind of how you need to manage your budgets to make sure that you are able to meet all of those. If you have financial aid or if you want to pay everything up front, that's also completely fine. This is just a default option for everyone to make paying for housing a little bit easier, because we know that the financial burden of coming to a university is pretty steep for some folks. And then also always please watch your CSUMB email, and also please read your emails for other important information coming from student housing or a lot of other offices. And I'm now going to pass the torch over to Kim to tell you a little bit about some of the folks who are going to be there to support you in student housing.
Hi guys, welcome, Kim. So your resident advisors are going to be like the people that live basically in the dorms with you. They're going to be a great resource for you guys to utilize. When you're not sure of where to go or what resources are available, they're there to create a sense of community while also helping you navigate the new university that you're on. That kind of goes into the residential life coordinator. So when the resident advisor doesn't quite know what to do or what resources are available, they'll ask their residential life coordinator, and then you guys will kind of just go from there. And that'll lead into getting into more support on the next slide. A great resource is our residential life main office. The email for that will pop up later. They'll answer any of your questions that you have. If your residential life coordinator or your residential assistant can't quite answer the questions, they'll help you solve issues, of course, with like meal plans, roommates. That's kind of like they'll all work together to kind of help you work through that issue or whatever you're going through at that moment. And then the RA duty phones, we're always on duty to answer simple questions if you have them. Say you get locked out of your unit, you would call the RA duty phone. They'll be able to assist you in real time. And we're on duty every night and respond to anything, honestly. You can ask anything that we're willing to answer. If we don't know the answer, we'll help you get the answer. And then I'm gonna pass it back over to Kyle.
Yeah, thank you, Kim. So in housing, you're supported 24/7. If you have questions, there's always someone who's going to be there to answer you. Another really amazing support that we are developing and we'll be implementing for the first time, it was supposed to be this past year as our first year, but COVID said no, is we are implementing a new transfer living learning community. So any student who is living in housing that would like to be part of, any incoming transfer student who would like to be part of the transfer living learning community, you can preference it on your housing application. This community is based in Promontory Apartments, which from what we've gathered over the past couple of years that we've been looking into building this is where a lot of our transfers do prefer to live. We've set some rooms aside in Promontory for transfer students who want to come and live together with other transfer students. And we're going to have an RA specific to this floor as well that will help transfer students come to CSUMB, learn how to use the CSUMB systems, because sometimes things might be different than the colleges that you're coming from. And we understand that you might have a lot of questions because a lot of the CSUMB environment culture, processes, offices might be new to you, but we still want you to have a great time. We want you to make a lot of friends. We want it to be a really seamless experience and opportunity for you. So as you're applying to housing, we encourage you to look at the Transfer Living Learning community. And if you do have any questions, you can, our contact information's on the next slide. And I do apologize, I'm gonna have to run in a couple minutes. So I can try to hang around to the end of the presentation, but if you do wanna send your questions to either the student housing email here or Jacinto, I can get back to you about any questions that you do have. But I will be watching the chat as we continue the presentation and answering questions there as well before I have to run.
Thanks, Kyle. There was one question that somebody has. Do you have to apply for new housing every semester?
That's a great question. So it's not every semester. In the fall, students sign an academic year license. So that includes fall semester and spring semester. If you're a student that's looking for summer housing because you're taking summer classes or some other opportunities you have, then you'll fill out a summer license. And then every year you're going to kind of renew your license or reapply through, and we call it reservation days at CSUMB, but you'll reapply every year. And at that, as you reapply is also when you can preference a different type of housing. So maybe you lived in North Quad Suites and you want an apartment experience. That's where you would let us know, hey, this is what I'm kind of looking for. So housing placements and roommates are forthcoming. We are, like I said, it's a rolling process. So we have started making assignments and you'll be getting an assignments letter through your CSUMB email. We don't have a specific timeline of X date is when they're all going to go out. So between now and orientation, keep an eye on your CSUMB email. Super sorry, I can't be more specific with that answer. COVID has really wrecked our normal timelines of us when we're able to structure that information going out.
That's awesome. I appreciate it, Kyle. The main thing to remember is that the student housing residential life folks are always there to help. So you can give them a call, say hello to Robin. You can email them. They're super responsive. They're busy and got a lot of stuff going on. But a lot of the questions, some of them are a little more personalized because it's dealing with living situations. So those can definitely be answered through either a phone call or an email. And so we appreciate them. And we are going to, I'm going to go backwards now in the PowerPoint. There we go. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jessica for Personal Growth and Counseling Center. Oh, one thing before Jessica gets started, Sam has been dropping the survey link into the chat. Please grab that before you leave here and help us know what we're doing good and what we need to improve on for future programs like this. Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jessica Lopez. I am one of the counselors at the Personal Growth and Counseling Center. We are a team of helping professionals. We have psychologists, social workers. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist who are available to support students with their mental and emotional well-being. We provide brief individual counseling. We provide group support and workshops. We provide crisis support. And we're a confidential service, which means that you can come and utilize our service just like you would utilize a mental health professional in the community. Even though we are a part of the university, we don't share information with your faculty, with staff, with other peers, unless you'd like to include them on your treatment plan. But it is a really confidential and private space for you to explore maybe any of the things that might be kind of getting in your way, that might be causing you concern or stress or overwhelm, or perhaps you just would like to use this service to enhance like your personal insight and explore decision making. You don't necessarily have to come to our counseling center with a specific problem. We're called the Personal Growth and Counseling Center, so we support you in your academic journey. Our services are no additional charge. You already pay a mental health fee. So that's even more reason to utilize us because you've already paid for it. And you can call our office to inquire about starting services. Because you're enrolled in the fall, services for you would start in that first week of classes. You can call ahead of time to learn more about our services or to make sure that we might be the best place for you. So you can call ahead, but it's likely that you would be scheduled for something at the start of the fall semester. Some of the group offerings that we have include a women's support group. We have a, we have a African-American male support group, a group around anxiety management, depression support group, grief and loss group, LGBTQ plus support group. Our groups are offered weekly. You can attend as many groups as often as you like. We also have workshops that are more focused on skill building rather than sharing and processing. We have a Let's Talk service. So if you're not quite sure about counseling or not quite sure about maybe engaging in some of our treatment options, you can just drop into one of our Let's Talk sessions and ask more questions. We also have a club on campus called Active Minds that we partner with to promote mental health awareness and advocacy. And we also provide trainings. So you might feel really well established in your own mental health and emotional well-being, but you might be concerned about others, or you might be interested in the field of being a helping professional. We provide various trainings to help you develop those skills to support others. And then lastly, we have an online platform called You at CSUMB. And this is something that you could also do and utilize to support your wellness and something you could do independently. So it's an online well-being platform. You just need your Otter ID and password to log in. There's a lot of cool little mini articles, tips, tools, ways to manage personal goals, and then also access to campus and community resources. So that's it really for me, and I'm open to questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. If any folks have questions for Jessica, go ahead and drop them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. And actually, this is a good time to ask questions of any of the other presenters that you didn't get a chance to. You could drop those in the chat, or you could unmute yourself. We're going to stick around for a few minutes to see if there's any questions or concerns that people have, or maybe some clarification on any of the information that was shared. Again, I want to encourage people to grab that link that Sam has been putting in the chat to complete the evaluation. That's going to help us a lot. Also, I would reiterate something that Jessica said is that the services and support that you have at CSUMB, almost all of them are completely free 99. You don't have to pay for them. Either they're free or you're already paying for them as part of your tuition and fees. So if they're free or you're already paying for them, you might as well take advantage of them and use them as much as you can, because where else in life are you going to get free stuff or pay for stuff and then not use it? Definitely want to take advantage of those resources. Pets, you're curious about pets. Is there a more clarifying question about pets? Maybe you're referring to them in campus housing or something else. So we're waiting for clarification for that. If there's any other questions, I also want to take you to here we go. Oh, there's wondering if you're allowed to have pets and under what circumstances. This might be a question for Res Life. I don't know if Kimberly, if you can address that question.
So it kind of depends on where you're living. In East Campus, you are allowed to have pets. You just have to fill out an application for the pet and pay like a small deposit, a small pet deposit.
Awesome. Appreciate that. There's also emotional support pets that people inquire about. So if one of the peer mentors can drop the student disability resources link into the chat, there was some questions about that yesterday. There you go. Also, what you see on the screen now is the contact information for the Transfer Student Success Center and our social media. You can email us with any question that you need during your transition at transfercenter@csumb.edu. We have a Facebook group. We encourage you to join. There's a bunch of current and future and prospective students in there that get to talk about different issues, and the peer mentors post different events that we host or that are going on campus and other information that's important to transfer students. Follow us on Instagram. You all know what that's about. We also have a YouTube channel where all these recordings of everyday's sessions from CSUMB Transfer Week will be posted by the end of next week. And then our website, you're going to be able to find a lot of information about the services that we have at csumb.edu/transfer center. You're going to hear more about those services tomorrow at the transfer student panel. And that's going to be the final event in our CSUMB Transfer Week. So the peer mentors are going to be there. They're super awesome. They're super engaged. They're knowledgeable. They're friendly. And they're excited and ready to go and excited to see all of you tomorrow. So before we finish up and I let everybody go, just want to make sure that we have an opportunity for more questions. Sam dropped the link for the evaluation again. Thank you, Sam. I don't see, you can also unmute yourself. So I want to give like another maybe 10 or 15 seconds to people to be brave and drop that question into the chat or to unmute themselves.
So with basic needs, it seems like basic needs focuses on providing food for students who might not be able to access it otherwise. Is that the case?
Yeah, we have a lot of programs that provide food access. So that would be like our Fresh Access program for the farmers market vouchers. That's just one example. We also do assistance to help students sign up for CalFresh, which is a federal program that gives individuals that meet the eligibility criteria additional money each month for food on a debit card. And we also provide a lot of one-on-one case management for students that are in need of, let's say, housing or have physical or mental health concerns, connecting them with some of the resources that you learned about here today, the health center, personal growth and counseling center, and just a real range, but food is really primary. We do have a lot of resources around food, and our campus does have a food pantry. It's run by our associated students, our student government, and Basic Needs is a very strong partner with the food pantry. The pantry has not been operational during the pandemic, but it will be coming back next academic year. And in addition to the food resources, we do a lot of events that are educational and we think fun for students that provide some incentives that contribute to their overall wellness. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Thanks, Joanna. And there is a question in the chat from TJ about when he'll find out about his when they'll find out about their housing assignment. I don't know, Kimberly, if you can address that. And there was also a question about the dashboard. I would, for any kind of questions about information on the dashboard or how to access the dashboard, I would contact the admissions folks. Admissions has an email and a number, and also you can do a drop-in and or schedule a Zoom with admissions. So if one of the peer mentors will drop the admissions link in there. And Kimberly, if you want to give a little more information about the assignments.
I mean, Kyle mentioned a little bit. You'll probably get your assignments later on in the summer, just because housing is swamped right now with getting everything done, and due to COVID, it's just a lot going on in the housing department. So I would just continue to check your email actively throughout the summer, but you should expect something at the latest late June, early July.
I appreciate that, Kim. The other thing is, the information that we know now isn't the same information that we're going to know in June when orientation happens. So if you haven't done your enrollment confirmation, that deadline is quickly coming up on May 1st. Make sure you get your enrollment confirmation done. Once you do your enrollment confirmation, you can actually sign up for orientation. So if you haven't signed up for orientation, I would make sure you do that, because a lot of the information that we know either part of or not completely yet will be a little bit more clear in June. And so it's also another great opportunity to take a deeper dive into some of the resources that we provided for you today. And also, when you go to orientation, you're going to see a lot of these familiar faces. So you're going to be beginning those relationships and connecting to different resources, so that the next time you see these folks, it's not going to be the first time. The question in the chat: should I start scheduling an appointment with a counselor to figure out classes? So if one of the peer mentors can drop that timeline into the chat. The major advisors are still busy working with current students and making sure that they're prepared for the next semester. Again, what you're going to do is the first time that you're going to have any initial and kind of significant contact with your major advisors is going to be at orientation. There's going to be a very specific advising session where you're going to get to meet them, talk to them. They're going to start sending you emails pretty soon, so check your email. Make sure you check your spam folders. A lot of that information that they send is going to be preparing you for orientation. So again, you want to go to orientation to make sure that you are keyed into all of the advising stuff. And then what will happen is, after you attend orientation, about a month after that, you will actually register for classes. So once they drop that timeline into the chat, you'll get a better idea of what that is. But I know course registration is a little stressful right now, because especially if you're coming from a community college, you would have already registered. And even for our own students, they would have already registered, but because of COVID, the registration has been pushed out a little longer. The courses for next semester aren't even available to students yet, so they haven't even seen that. So a lot of what we're all currently dealing with is something that is, a situation that we're trying to do our best in. And just kind of check your emails. Check all of the social media that all these people have, including admissions and Res Life and Basic Needs and the PGCC, because we'll also post information there about things that you need to keep in mind as you transition to the university, and all the things and the to-dos and the timelines and all that good stuff. So thank you for the peer mentors who dropped that timeline into the chat regarding what the advising timeline is going to be for this year.
Can I comment on one of the questions in the chat, Jacinto?
Absolutely.
Okay, so questions around safety concerns. So we do have a campus advocate who is available, who works kind of within our departments. They work locally for the Monterey County Rape Crisis Center and provide support for students, staff, and faculty who have any experiences with sexual assault, harassment, partner violence. So there is an additional resource. She is a confidential source. Also, Joanna and myself sit on a committee called the CARE team, where we also work collaboratively with housing, with advising, and with the University Police Department. And so oftentimes we also discuss ways to kind of intervene and make sure that if students are having any kind of problems. Oh, and we also, on that team, is the conduct administrator as well. So we have a team of folks who help to support students who might be experiencing challenges within the classroom, even challenges with professors. So we do take your safety very seriously, and we meet weekly to discuss any concerns that impact our campus.
Yes, thank you for that question, and thank you for the response, Jessica. We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And I just might also say, I just really appreciate all of you who are here today. It's so encouraging and exciting to see students who are just really kind of responsible in knowing their resources and getting a jump start on, understanding this new system, and a deep appreciation, because this has been such a hard year for so many people, especially students, and it can be so challenging to hear how things, because of COVID, we're not doing this. And so I just appreciate your patience, your generosity, and that's another reason you might consider connecting with our office, because this upcoming semester, while we're eager to return, there's still a lot of kind of things that our campus is figuring out and understanding. And sometimes that can create some stress and overwhelm for students. And we want you to know we care about you and know that it can be frustrating, and really want to be there to listen and figure out ways that we could support you in problem solving so that you could do your best work. But just, again, an appreciation for all of you for being here.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Very well said. That's why Jessica is an amazing part of our campus community. That's one of the reasons. Yes, we're very happy that you all are excited, and Mira and I, we're also excited to see you all sometime, maybe in the fall, definitely in the spring, but definitely know that you have people that are here to support you, that can connect you and care about your success and you as individuals. And the most important thing to know is to continue to seek out those resources. Like Jessica said, it's great that you were here today, and just continue that support seeking behavior and that kind of energy and that effort in making connections. So I don't see any other questions in the chat. What I'd like to say is thank you very much for coming today. Like I said, we're going to send this recording out to everybody next week, and always know that you can get a hold of us so that we can make sure that you're taken care of. So thank you so much for everybody for coming, and have a good evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.